So this is Baruch Fleischman, your host for the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and we're back again. The time has changed, so that means that the Earth has moved from even further along down the line. We're flying further around in space, and we're going to this time be doing the Matok M'dvash. Excuse me. Let's get right to it. The Matok M'dvash, we'll have to do some of the Zohar in order to keep the continuity going, but we're going to be reading light print and Rashi print. The Zohar starts Rabbi Shimon Amar Tochazi and Kislev, this pasuk Tov Yeled Maskein B'Chacham. It's good if you have a child who is poor and also wise. V'shol man Yeled Maskein. So that's, what is that? Meshiv Hitmar Dihu Yetzatov, Hare Biarnoch Lamadav Shuhu the Yetzatov. So this particular phrase, it refers to the Yetzatov, V'zechu K'pshuto, that is according to its simple meaning. Aval Soda Pasuk, but the real secret over here is Masha Kosav Tov Yeled. It's a good child. So he says, let's go, so V'amra Chazal, but Masech Yavamas and Daf Tes Zayin Omid Beis Pasuk Zeh Sharo Al Olam Saro Shal Olam Amro. So he says this pasuk is stated by the prince of this world, which means let's go on, and he's going to say more. V'hainu Malach Matat. It is the name of the main channel of flow to this world, which is the letter Vav, which is controlled by a Malach, which is called Matat. Now, this is all, I don't know that much about Matat, just what he's telling me. V'dohu nar, so v'zehu nar shuhu yeled ani. So this is the child who is also impoverished. Why? L'visha ein lo mishalo klum, because this Matat has nothing of his own. Now, if you saw the Zohar at the beginning, which, God willing, that we're going to be starting a review of the entire Zohar, and I'd like to be able to put this out so that everybody could hear it, but it might be pretty fast the way that it's said. But at any rate, he said the fi she'ein lo mishalo klum, he has nothing of his own. El lamasha bekaba mechamalchus, only what it receives from malchus. Now, to me, that seems like a backwards idea, because matat represents the vav and malchus is the hay. So what is he saying here? So let's I'm trying to understand it. So he says, Volama Nikra Nar. Now, why is it called a Nar, or male child? So he said the Fisha Yeshlo Chidish Halvana, because it has the renewal ability of the moon. But some of the Shakal Zaman, Shaham Malchus Hanikras Levana Mitzchadeshes, as long as Malchus is constantly renewing herself. Also, his Chachus Vahashefa. So what is it allows the moon to constantly be renewing itself? Magia Gam Allah, because all of the Shefa that's going to come to her has to come to him as well. But the Fisha Malchus Nikras Naira, and since she's called a female child, Nikra Matat Al Shemo Nar. So therefore he's called by the male name, which is Nar. So he's a Nar who is impoverished. He has nothing of his own. The Mischad Shal Tadir is constantly being renewed. Shemischadeshes Malchus Tamid B'Kol Yom B'Yom, Malchus is renewed every single day. B'Nias Chashtus Hazeh Hu Ki Kol Maza Tachtonim. But what is this renewal? He says that all of the deeds of what's going on in the lower worlds, Me'esek Torah of mitzvahs, all of Alecha B'Sod Man. So everything that we do when we learn Torah, all of it goes up to the Shechina in the sod of what we call Mayim Nukvin. Mayim Nukvin is the plea that one gives when he knows that he's empty. We know that nothing, he has nothing. But that is the Torah that we're working on. We're trying to bring the Torah to us, which we need very badly. Behemoth kashet is banned. This Malchus then adorns herself with these. And through that adorning, then she's able to make a yichud, that is a mate with Zer Anpen. And what happens then is that this mating produces a tremendous amount of bounty, of blessing and goodness. And from that, then the hashfa goes to matat. So when he has this shefa, and it actually comes into him, he's called an elder, a zaken. Because it already read, I became old. As a result of what? What does old mean? Old means old and wise. So Avdo Zokim, like he has an elder servant, Besa of Zokim Besa, the older servant of his house, a Moshe B'Kol Shelo, which is really in charge of everything he has. V'tader ihu yeled miskein kama da amra v'chuvatamed ku yeled ani kamosha amarno. But it's always considered to be a child who's impoverished. Because once the shefa leaves him, shuv hu ani, he's back to being an ani again, empty. V'nikra matat chacham, the matat is also called the chacham. The fi shachachma shorabo, because chachma winds up resting on him, in him. But so the lobish on malchus and nikras chachma, malchus when she's called chachma, she's called the chachma d'tah. Is Vlaveshes Vishorabo. She clothes herself in him and she rests in him. Umasha Kosev, what it's written, we have this pasuk in Melech Zokein. There's such a thing as an old Melech. This is the Yetzer Hara, Zehar Yetzer Hara, Kamosh Lamado, V'chatam Shenikra Zokein. Why is he called old? Ki miyom hi yoso lo yotze mitumaso laolam. For the time that he became into being, he never left the stage of being Tomei. He's impure. Vein lo chiddush, he never renews himself. V'tahara, he never purifies himself. Ka'ayin matat, just like matat. Hanikras nar, which is called a nar. Al shem kiddusha. Why? He says not like, I guess he means not like matat, because matat is always renewing himself. So he says, so this melech who is old, this old melech, called Drachov Chem Lahatos, because everything that he does is in order to be able to seduce or to cause people to sin, Ha'adam the derech raw, to push people into the wrong direction. V'holak metal b'nei dad adam, and he continues in trying to trick people and trying to lead us astray. Veinu yodea lehizachar, he does it not wise enough to be able to know to be careful. Because they say like this, I already got this man. I already went after him. I really went after him. I tried to seduce him into really bad things. But he didn't listen to me. So why should I go after him again? Let me leave him alone. Pam halohu vadai od pam. Halo vadai lo yishmali. So he says, why? He's not going to listen to me. Why should I try to seduce him into sin again? So this word tiskufim, very new to me. He has all different kinds of plots that he brings to people. He says, in order to turn them away for the good life, the derek harah. So he says, Ba'arei, the Matok says, Ba'arei, come and see. Because first comes the Yetzer Hara onto a person when they're born. Why does he do that? Because familiarity, because the person should believe in him. But when the Yetzer Tov comes after this, he can't believe him. And what he's saying, that what the Yetzer Tov is saying, seems like a heavy burden. Because he's already accustomed himself to a Yetzer Hara. Because he's gotten accustomed to the Yetzer Hara and all the things that happen with the Yetzer Hara, it's like natural for him. So like this we've learned. There's a little piece of the Sekta Saita. Nikra Rasha Arum, who is called a bold-faced evil person. The Arum, to me, means naked. Now, he also uses it to mean tricky, in terms of hidden badness. He says, but who is this? Zehu Meisha Shemakdim the tone devoted It's like a person who comes first before a judge. Sheyavu Havera, before his opponent comes. Havera, which is the Baldin, his Baldin Havera. Haba Rishon Beriv Yidmed Tzadik Berivo, so that what he comes first to do is he makes himself look like he's a tzaddik. The first person comes and says, I really got hurt about this. We got to do this. I got to do that because this guy's so bad. Because he's able to put real good reason into his words. L'haknitza b'lev shemoa, and then the person who's listening goes, this is like Lashon Hara, when you're Lashon Hara, so that the person is sincere when he says it to it, so you believe it, and already you've made a stain on the person he's speaking about. So he said, because he doesn't say who's the other person. There's no exchange. This is the meaning of an evil person who is bold and bold-faced. So he said, "V'shuhu hayetzahar," because the Gemara, the Zohar said, "Kamadat Amar HaNachash Aram," because we said that the Nachash was Aram also. So v'shuhu hayetzahar, which is the Yetzahara, v'hu makdim v'shora al ima adam. So he came first, and he lived by the man. Ad shelo yavo chachavera, before any Yetzer Tov showed up, hayetzer tov l'shrosimo, before that ever happened. But the fisher who hiktim v'ton nosim about Adam, and since he came first, and he said his whole case before the man about why you need me, he says kasher yavu acher kachaveiro shuhu yetzer tov. So then when the Yetzer Tov shows up, raw la Adam l'hiyosimo, then it's bad to have this Yetzer Tov with him. Below yachol l'skof rosho, and the Yetzer Tov can't lift up his head. V'nibach alo ke'ilah hayetzer tov hitim al kasefo. It's like he laid a tremendous burden on his shoulders, called Masalas Olam, of all the burdens of the whole world. That's what the Yetzer Tov is doing to him. Why get involved with that? So it's Maglal Osa Rasha Aram, and this happens because of this bold-faced evil one, Hayetzer Hara, Shehiktim Lihiyosimo. They came first to be with him. Vazeh Amar Shlomo said on this, he said, "V'chachmas hamat hamiskein." So he says the wisdom of the poor one. Who's the poor one? Shu hayetzer tov kanal. V'zuyich devorav ein nishmayim. He is made fun of, and what he says and never listened to. V'tam adavar. What's the reason? Begin the ha achtim achra, because the fisher hiktim acher, that is the Yetzer Hara, came first, as Tanosav, with all of his claims and all of the position that he holds. So going on is, if al kain kol dayan amakabel devora divrei Tanosav shal adam ad shelo yavo chavero bal dino. So any judge who listens to the claims of one person before his opponent comes, nechshav lo ki'ila mekabel alav elokim acherim. It's as if he has received upon himself other gods. La'amen bo la'avdo, to believe in them and to serve them, because that's the kind of stain that the original accusation of the Yetzer Hara places on the Shomea, on the one who's listening. But what you need is that his friend could come. Oz yishma tano sehem, and then will be heard all the different claims from the different sides. And then investigate what they're saying. So this is the way of the man who is righteous. Because a person who, maybe he's talking about the Dayan, I'm not sure, but a person who is a man who is righteous, like a person, say for example, who, let's say, I think he is talking about an ish tzaddik, who doesn't believe in the Yetzer Hara, who is so bold-faced, Yetzer Hara, until the other side comes. In other words, he's talking about you and me. You and me are born with the Yetzer Hara that's attached to us, and then later is added on to us this Yetzer Tov. But in the meantime, once the Yetzer Tov is there, then it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to listen to the Yetzer Tov, even though that you have all this time that you spent with the Yetzer Hara by itself. Because people take the side of the Yetzer Hara. So therefore they find a stumbling block to the entrance into the next world. For this reason, this is the reason why the Jewish people, the children of the Jews, they always initiate their children el mitzvos, for the mitzvos, ad shelo yagir zaman ki yuvam, before they have to actually practice them. So therefore we bring them to schools and we teach them about Torah and mitzvot. We teach them how to learn Torah. Kadeshi more golim bakach, so that they should be accustomed to that. And when a person reaches the age that he gets a Yetzer Tov, Yimsa Machol Neshivta, there will be a place for him to dwell. So now we come like this. But the tzaddik who's afraid of his master, in other words, he realizes the awesomeness of encompassingness of the Yetzer Tov and all the goodness of Hashem Yisbarach. He says, Kama rolls v'tzar sovel ba'olam hazeh. How many different kinds of pains, different kinds of punishments the person has to bear in this world. Ayedei shelo ha'emin, because he did not believe, v'lo nischaber im ha'yetzer hara, and because he did not join into the yetzer hara. So therefore the yetzer hara is always after. That is necessary to fight with him and realize it's a fight. Become mini melchamos with his youngness and all different kinds of wars that he has and different kinds of tests. But Kodesh Baruch Matzilo, but the Kodesh Baruch, if the person tries, he could fail. But you keep trying. Kodesh Baruch will save that person mikol haraos v'hatzaros, from all the bad things and all the pains. The haver of the mashber haraos came manas chelko. So if we would misread this, we would think that what we want to say here is that the person who is righteous, he inherits automatically a bad position. But the Zohar wants to say it not like that. V'im came, because if that's the case, Mazeh Shebesayim of Kulu Yitzilu Hashem, and from everything Hashem saves him. Pirush Yatzilenu Shelo Yavu Olav, that should save him, so they shouldn't come to him. You pray to him enough, and you'll find out that it's better. It doesn't mean the fear, or the possibility of what could happen, or what the mistakes you could make, it went away. But your relationship with Hashem could make it. So he says, Shalo Yavu Olav, that it won't come to you actually. Rabul Tzaddik. So it said, the pasuk says there are many bad things with Tzaddik. Shemitzad Atzmo. Yeshlo rolls v'tzar l'ilchom v'likvosh Yitzral Ra, because of the person that's involved in the war to combat his Yetzer Hara, he'll have pain and he'll have troubles over there. The fish HaKodesh Baruch Hu chavetz b'masha adam lochem, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to fight this Yetzer Hara, to find different kinds of plans and plots to work with it. And for this reason, the Kodesh Baruch Hu chavetz b'zeh ha'adam, this person who's willing to fight his Yetzer Hara, a person that a Kodesh Baruch Hu really wants that person, and it will save him from all of the pains ba'olam hazeh, in this world, ba'olam haba. And that's what it means when the pasuk says, from all of them Hashem will save him. And happy is his portion. That's the Matok M'dvash for today. Wow.